So let's begin with learning how to read files using Node.js. Right here, I'll create a file and I'll call it readingfiles.js. And I'll create another file, I'll call it example.txt. In example.txt, I will write some text how to read files using Node.js. I'll also write something like, this is the second line, and I can write that, and we need a file system module. The file system module comes with Node.js. You don't need to download it from npm. Yes. So I'll save that and then come here. I'll start by creating a constant. I'll name it file system. You can name it whatever you want. And I'll require the fs. I'll start using the file system that I have imported from Node, and it has a method or a function called readFile, which takes at least 3 parameters. You can put in 2 parameters, but let's start by putting in 2 parameters and we see. So I'll put the file path here by writing example.txt, that is the file. Then it accepts a callback, and in the callback we expect 2 things. In the callback we expect data and error. So I will put error here and data here. Then I will implement the callback. So if there is an error, I'll throw the error. Okay. And then if there is no error, I'll console log the data. Okay, let's test this again. So I will type the node command, then read the file and enter. And I'm being told cannot find module. That's the error. And so this is the system has thrown an error. Yes, they are not able to find the read file module in this directory because I called my file, I called it readfiles.js. So I should write read files, then enter. And this is the buffer that has been returned. We've gotten a buffer instead of the actual text because we missed out a parameter here or an argument in the middle of these two. So I'll add an argument for the character encode. I'll add UTF-8, then so that the read file function can take 3 arguments: the file name, the character encoding, and the callback. Then I'll save and go back to check. And yes, here we go. Here we are. The things are working. This is everything we typed in the file. So there is another way of reading files in Node.js, and this is reading files line by line. I'll create another file. I'll call it readline-by-line.js. To read a line by line, you need 2 modules: the file system which I've imported. You also need the read line module. And it also comes with Node. You don't need to download it. So you might need to specify the file path for your file. Like I have specified example and assigned it to file path variable. Next, you need to create a read stream from fs, and this is how you do that. You specify the file system, then access the create read stream, and you pass it the file path. Just like that. Then you create a read line interface. And how do you create the read line interface? You use the read line create interface method, which you pass an object, and the object has a key. The object has a key of input, and to which you assign the read stream that you created here. Next, you need to access the line event on the read line interface. .on, so this is an event line, and you pass it a callback. This callback accepts a line. Here we shall output the line to the console. The remaining part is to close the read line interface. You access the close event on the read line interface by saying on, then close, and then here you can output to the console that completed reading the file, and that's it. So let's test it out by running the node at the command line and then give it the read line by line file, and the file has been read. So these are the two ways. This is one of the safest ways. However, there's also another option of using synchronous file functions, which you know that they block the execution of code, so they might be slow, but you can go to the Node documentation and learn more about them. Let me show you how to write data to a file in Node.js. Create your script where you write the code for writing to the file. For me, I've created write to file.js. You need to use the file system, so import it by requiring it just like I've done. Go ahead and specify some data that you want to write to the file. This is a special character that is going to break the line and start a new line. Next, use the write file method, which is part of the file system, and it takes 3 arguments: the file path, the data, and the error callback. So the file path I've passed example 2.txt. You will go ahead and pass the data and also pass the callback. Implement the callback by checking whether there is an error. If there is, throw the error to be thrown to the console. If there isn't, find a way to tell the user or yourself that data has been written. See that? When you are done with all of this, you can go to Node and check whether things have worked. So we shall write Node, write to file, and it says data has been written. The thing about write file method is that if this file is not existing, it will be created, and it has been created here. If we open it, the first sentence here, the second sentence here, and they have been written by this small piece of code. Sometimes you may want to show the data that has been written. You may want to show it to the user. So what you can do, so go ahead and access the code from read files and reuse it. Like I can reuse it here, but above it, I'll write console. The following has been written to the file. I'll put a new line and a new line, two of them, to just create clarity. Then here you specify the file from which you are reading from, and the file that you should specify is example2.txt, which you specified above here. Let's check it. Actually, let's specify the third sentence so that we can be sure. So go to Node. So go to the terminal, write Node, write to file, enter. Do you see? Data has been written. The following has been written to the file. The first sentence, the second sentence, the third sentence. That's how you can write data to files in Node.